Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Terry Winfrey, and I am the president of the Chicago Southland Chamber of Commerce. And this is a very exciting time for us here in the Chicago Southland. We've got lots of great things that are going on. And today you're going to be learning about just one of those. And it's not really just one because it's a whole project. So we're going to have the opportunity to hear from a few different people about all of this excitement, but I just wanted to give a welcome. This is sponsored by, it's a legislative series. It's sponsored by our Government Affairs Committee. The Chicago Southland Chamber has several committees that are all very active, and our Government Affairs Committee are the ones that sponsor this particular event. It's a monthly recurring event that happens each month on the second Tuesday of the month. And I hope that many of you I know are returning guests, and we hope that you just put it in your calendar and plan to attend each month. And the person who's going to be facilitating today is none other than the mayor of Glenwood, Mr. Ron Gardner. So I am going to hand this over to him, and he's going to introduce our guest speakers. And we're also going to have a PowerPoint presentation. Then followed by that, there will be time for Q&A. So please put your questions in the Q&A box or the chat box, and we will make sure that we get to those questions. So Mayor Gardner.
I want to welcome Mayor Tom Brown from East Hazel Crest and Mayor Rich Hofeld from Homewood, and also Arthur Mothershed from Wind Creek Casino, who will be doing the presentation. Mayors, if you wanted to just open up, and then we'll turn it over to Arthur Mothershed to do the presentation.
Okay. Naturally, the taskbar would be right over the slideshow from the beginning. Past that. We're all good now. So thanks everyone for having us today. And I'm Arthur Mothershed, the Executive Vice President of Business Development. Just in case, I am doing this remotely, and we've had a lot of noise. So I do have Ken Roman, who's our Chief Marketing Officer, on standby to take over for me if need be. I want to talk a little bit about our project in the Chicago Southland, and primarily leave time for question and answer. So this is going to be a very high level presentation, but we can get into much detail in the Q&A as anyone would like to. So right now, Wind Creek, we currently have 10 properties, soon to be 11 in 2023 with the one in East Hazel Crest and Homewood. We have 11,000 games, 1,800 give or take table positions, and operate about 1,700 rooms across not only the US but the Caribbean. Right now, our company is about 1.5 billion in revenue. We like to believe, or we say that when we come into these communities, that we build communities, not just casinos, and that's because we believe it's very important to become part of the community from the onset. We've already began our initiation into those communities with the help of the two mayors to try to identify some things that are important to the community. So even before we were awarded the license, we came in and wanted to make sure that the communities that we were a part of knew what our goals were for the casino, and knew that we were there to help, not only from bricks and mortar jobs, construction jobs, and employment opportunities, but from being good partners inside the community. But we believe we're a respected and responsible and fiscally stable operator. We operate in both tribal regulated and state regulated jurisdictions, so we feel like that makes us kind of unique. We'll be bringing a 4-diamond facility to the Southland, and that's something they currently don't have. We're very proud of that. You'd have to go into Chicago to the Waldorf and other places to see that. We believe that we have the best location for the South suburbs, both from a job creation, capturing some revenues out of Indiana, and of course, from a tax revenue standpoint. We had 3 of the most highly regarded innovation feasibility groups to come in and verify that we would be bringing the highest tax revenue to the state. And then a little bit later on, we'll talk about some of our diversity and inclusion initiatives. So here's just a little rendering of the building. We think it looks quite nice. We think without having to spend a whole lot of money on a billboard, we'll have a billboard right off of the interstate. there. A little bit about the casino. The casino itself will be about $285 million, about 70,000 square feet of gaming space, 1,350 to 1,400 slot machines. We keep going back and forth. Over 50 table games with a sports book. As I mentioned before, the hotel, which is going to be roughly 155 million, along with our food and beverage outlets, it's going to be another 4-diamond property. We're going to strive very hard to make sure that it is. And again, comparable to the Waldorf, Astoria, Drake, Fairmont, and some of the other nicer hotels that you would see in the Chicago area. It consists of 252 rooms, with 53 of those being suites. We'll have 6 F&B outlets, 3 restaurants, 2 bars. And then up on top of the casino, we're going to have the Skyline Lounge and a fine dining, which will overlook the skyline of Chicago. We think that's going to be a magnificent view for our patrons. Also going to have about 1,600 square feet of entertainment space. We're looking for some live entertainment, maybe similar to what we do on our properties in Alabama, where we partner with the B.B. King Blues Club. So something along those lines, maybe not blues, but we do understand Buddy Guy's pretty popular in the area. So maybe something along those lines will work out. We're still trying to nail that portion of it down. 35,000 square feet of conference and banquet space. We will have an indoor pool, spa, very nice spa, and fitness center. And then something that people may not think about as an advantage, but we wanted to make sure that we had some secure parking structure that's going to contain about 720 spaces. Me being from South Alabama, I was up one time during January, and we were walking from the Hilton to the Marriott, which was about a mile. I thought I wasn't going to make it. So covered parking into the facility will be very important, we believe, in January. And then we also have an arrangement with the Ravenslow Country Club as an amenity for our guests, which is right up the road in a very nice place. So, went too far. Oh. Okay, so a little bit about our diversity and hiring practices that we're looking at. We've partnered during the construction phase. We hired W. O'Neill as the general contractor, and they've partnered with BOA as their minority construction partner. And then SCB will be the architect. They've agreed to go after some, what we believe, some pretty aggressive targets where we'll go after 30% minority-owned, women-owned, veteran-owned, and LGBTQ businesses to be part of this construction phase. One that's not on here is the target group, which is headed by Joseph Williams, who has a pretty intense program where they can drill down. So it's not just about picking subcontractors. They can drill down and actually find some laborers in the Illinois market to come in as part of this temporary construction phase. So it's not just some of the subcontractors that Bo and O'Neill will be going after, but we'll also be looking at some local residents to come in for some of these construction jobs during that phase. We'll also carry over targets program as we start to do the job fairs for the full operation of the casino, because we understand the permanent jobs will be important to the area as well. Speaking of those jobs, about 600 temporary construction jobs and 800 jobs to the south suburban region once we get up and running. And there is a hope, we believe it will become reality, a plan for a second tower should the need arise. And again, we're working with the target group to help identify the vendors and contractors, and then also just the people that will be there, both during the temporary construction phase and the permanent phase. We do think we have one of the best benefit packages. So for people that are going to be coming to work for us, we offer some of the same or some of the similar benefits that most people offer: health, vision, dental, and the like. We do have 401k where we match up to 4%. And paid time off, some up to 280 hours a year. But one of the things that we think is very unique to our operation is that we incentivize our employees on every level. And we incentivize them not based off of certain profit in most cases, because most of your frontline employees don't impact profit. What they can impact is guest service, and that's what we measure them and incentivize them on. Have a company come in and measure our guest service. If they hit within 90% of the target, they get X amount. They are certainly, if they get 100%, they get an 7.5%. But one of the things we think is really important is if they overachieve on their target amount, our frontline employees can double that incentive mark to 15%, which is significant for our frontline employees. And a little bit of selfishness. We believe if they deliver great guest service, the guests will continue to come back. So we would make a little more money too, but we understand that without those guys on the front line delivering that great guest service, our success could be short-lived. We understand that they're key to our success. We believe in training. We have a very intensive in-house training program, but we've also been successful with some outsourcing, and we're going to do some of the same thing with some of the local community colleges in the area when the time comes in Illinois. Those colleges would be Prairie State, South Suburban, and Moraine Valley. We're very excited to have a partnership with them, not only here, but a little bit later on. Well, actually right now, when we talk about the commitment to community, they're also part of the Southland Public Benefit Fund. This fund was an idea of our partners, our mayors of Homewood and East Hazelcrest. With Wind Creek, as part of our commitment, we said we contribute $10 million over the first 5 years. Our host communities they're going to donate half of their revenues for the first 4 years. Between the two, we believe that at some point we'll be able to hit a $20 million threshold, and at that point we'll be able to distribute $1 million a year to not only the community colleges, but also in a partnership with Avenue, Urban, and Chicago Medicine to help with some. We all know healthcare is vastly important right now. It's always been important, but it's more on the front line than it ever has been. So we think education, job creation, and the healthcare system was a perfect use of these funds, or the monies out of this public benefit fund. So along with the mayors, we worked to create this, and we're very excited about bringing that to the South. Won't only benefit just the two host communities, but the entire Southland. So I think I've pushed through that rather quickly, but again, I wanted to get through it and leave as much time for questions as we could, because I understand that I don't know what all the interests are, so I'd really like to hear from the others on the call. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mayor Brown and Mayor Hofeld, we got you unmuted now?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, good to hear. Well, how did the vision start for you two to get together to do the casino?
Oh, Lord, we started 2012.
2012, we had a conversation about the possibility of utilizing the space. If most of you that are familiar with the Southland knew that we had a couple hotels in the area that were kind of run down, and we envisioned trying to redevelop the property. And we had a discussion about that right about the time when the state was talking about expanding the number of casino licenses. So we put our heads together and said, hey, why don't we give it a shot?
And we had done our homework. I should add that as well. Tom and I took one-day trips out to meet with casino groups at that time in Las Vegas, down in St. Louis. They sent their site review committees out to look at the site. And each of the casinos said, this is a terrific site. They looked at the traffic on I-80, and one of them said, good Lord, we can build a parking lot just for semis. They were that impressed with the site, and we've worked on it ever since then.
And then we put out an RFP for developers and selected the Daily Group to help us. And the Daily Group wound up finding Arthur's Group, and we just moving forward with that. And we had hoped that it would have happened sooner, but the legislation kept getting stalled in Springfield, and it kept getting delayed. And ultimately, we reached the point where we are today.
And I should add, with Pat Daly's search for an operator, both Tom and I are in sync. we couldn't find a better operator than Wind Creek. Everything you do is first class. We're very impressed with what we've seen.
So the process took a very long period of time. I know we all in the south suburbs were waiting with bated breath to see exactly who would get the casino. Do you have anything to say about the process?
Well, I think you pointed out it was kind of a long process, but as we went through it with our partner, with Wind Creek, and all the evidence that we saw all along the way, we felt very confident that our site was going to be the best site. Everyone I spoke to anywhere in the Southland and Chicago that knows the area always said that you guys have the best site. And the numbers, as Arthur pointed out, the three companies that analyzed the location all came up with the same conclusion, that our site would generate the most money for the state. And the best part about that is it also generates the most money for the 43 communities that are going to share in the revenue from the site.
Yeah, we had always been under the premise that what site can generate the most revenue, what site can sustain that revenue growth, and we know that our site was right there. And I have to give credit to the Illinois Gaming Board. They did a very thorough search. Both they and their staff were very, very good at what they did, and we're well pleased with the outcome.
That's great. That's great. What are the revenue projections?
Well, the statistics that we've seen from Wind Creek indicate that in the first year they'll generate about $156 million in net revenues. And in addition, about 1.5 million in admissions revenues. And that doesn't include, I don't really have an idea on sales tax and hotel tax and those kinds of things, but just from the gaming part of it, it's about $156 million that'll be generated. If you break that down, I believe 5% of that will be going to be what's going to be shared with. 2% goes to the host municipalities. 3% is going to be shared by those 43 other municipalities in the Southland.
And East Hazel Crest and Homewood, we have an intergovernmental agreement. It's been in place for years. They have the preponderance of the land, so they get 55% of the revenue. We get 45% of the revenue, and it's a very fair accommodation.
That's great. What is the timeline for the building? And is there going to be a temporary facility too?
No temporary facility, because they're going to go full bore on the permanent facility, and they don't want to diminish what they're going to have as a final product.
Yeah, they analyzed it and looked at various locations for a temporary facility, and we kept coming up with a number of about $25 million to put up one that when people walked in, they were impressed. They don't want people to get the first impression of walking into a tent. So they thought it would be better to expedite the construction schedule and save that $25 million and put it into the facility that's going to get constructed.
And what is the construction schedule?
As soon as the weather warms.
We hope to break ground in April. We have a 15-month casino schedule, and then the hotel 9 months after. So it's roughly a 24-month schedule for the entire project. So
you plan on starting the project this spring, correct?
April.
Correct.
April. Fantastic.
We're targeting April. That's correct.
Okay. Obviously, this fiction, the Southland Chamber, many of our members were curious if there'll be any opportunity for our chamber members to participate in the bidding process for the procurement of.
That's an Arthur question.
Yeah, certainly. If you get me any of the contacts, we'll be glad to include them in any and all of those bidding processes. One thing I'll say is that O'Neill, and I'm sorry the date escapes me, but they're in the process. Ken may remember, because I know he was helping fine tune the language, but having a sort of a information session shortly is coming up soon.
Yeah, Arthur, not to jump the train, but yeah, we did approve the final brochure for Webb O'Neill this morning, WB O'Neill this morning. So Patrick and I believe it's Herb are going to have that and distributing it later today. I don't recall the dates, but the final literature was approved this morning for circulation.
We'll make sure you guys get copies of that.
Okay, great. Concerning traffic, is there plans in place to make sure the traffic patterns flow?
Well, traffic study is already done. We believe that we've mitigated any kind of traffic issues. I mean, it was already a busy intersection. We just hope to pull some of the traffic into our facility.
Yeah, if you recall, just shortly, not too long ago, we finished the widening of Halsted Street exit off of I-80 with that's about a $2.5 million project, and signalized 174th and Halsted, which was one of the things that we thought would also make an attractive location. So what we think adding that additional lane of traffic will be very beneficial.
Great. So is there going to be a need from Homewood and East Hazel Crest for additional police, fire, EMTs, paramedic type of thing? Have you factored that in?
We've had discussions about that and with Wind Creek, and we don't believe that we're going to need to hire any more police or fire. Understanding Wind Creek has their own security systems, and will probably be cameras all over the place with that, but they do have their own security force, so we don't foresee any need on our part to hire more personnel.
And we'll be working more closely with Wind Creek as they get closer to opening to figure how we're going to do any responses from an emergency medical situation.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out where we can buy a 21-story ladder.
That's on you.
So what type of, obviously this is going to produce a lot of jobs for the Southland, which is fantastic. What type of jobs are going to be produced by building the casino?
Well, your typical jobs from entry level, on up to executive management. We do anticipate the average payroll. Of course, that's going to fluctuate across the different levels of employment. It's going to be about $48,000 a year. But you'll have everything from an entry level EVS person to car dealers, up to the GM of the property.
We have a question here from the audience from Gina Lagalbo. She wants to know if there's going to be a poker room at the casino.
We were looking over the floor plan the other day and trying to decide where we could put it. We certainly would love to have one there. Right now it's not designed in, but we're working to make that happen.
Okay. Yeah, she said that there's a poker power organization highly recommended. The charity teach over 1 million women to play poker. So she's recommending you get together with them. Mike Schofield wants to know, you mentioned Ravislow. What is that relationship going to be with Ravislow Country Club?
I think it's been fully finalized, but we've done this with several golf courses in the community. We realize that some of our guests like to play golf and other things as well, but we usually purchase a few rounds from the club. Is typically our relationship.
We got another question from Mike Schofield. Will the entire property be developed, or is there going to be opportunities for complementary businesses to locate nearby?
I'd let the mayor speak for from land adjacent. The portions that we own, we're gonna take up just about every square inch.
Yeah, and that leaves about all the vacant space in East Hazel Crest used up.
And in Homewood, everything's been developed.
That's a nice problem to have, guys. Is this casino going to be affiliated with any hotel chain, a Hyatt, a Hilton, anything along those lines? That's from Mike Schofield too.
No, we operate all our with the exception of the two in the Caribbean as Wind Creek Resort and Casino, Wind Creek Casino Hotel Resort. Sorry.
And is there any other another question from Mike Schofield? Is there any other properties in the area anywhere Southland comparable that we could look at and find to take a look at the something similar to what you're building?
You mean from a hotel perspective?
Yes.
We don't think there's anything in the Southland for sure. And you could go in town and look at like Waldorf, the Drake, some of those facilities, and that'll give you an idea of the quality of hotel product we deliver.
It will probably be the tallest building in the south suburbs, I would think, once it's constructed.
Yeah, one of the things I saw in there, there's going to be a deck or a restaurant overlooking so you can see Chicago.
That's right. Sky Lounge on the top.
That's great. So that actually is all the questions that we had here. Oh, Jim Garrett has a question here. What will the official name for the casino hotel complex be? It's from Jim Garrett from the
Ken changed this on me at the last minute, so I think it's Wind Creek, Chicago Southland.
Okay, that's from Jim Garrett from the Chicago Southland Visitors Bureau. I'm sure you're going to be getting a call from him soon.
Actually, Jim Garrett and I had the opportunity to meet with some folks from Wind Creek, and they were actually forward thinking and wanting to know about the types of groups that we host in the Chicago Southland for meeting space. So planning for conferences and conventions and things like that. So that's been very good. They were engaging from early on with that type in their planning. There are some other questions, Ron, that are in the chat box. Would you, or excuse me, in the chat box. Would you like me to ask those?
Yeah, I didn't. I thought I asked them all.
Yeah, so these are in the chat box rather than the Q&A.
Oh, okay,
And this one of them is, can some of these funds be used towards mental health in the community?
Imagine so.
Yes, and I think Arthur's group also has programs to help with those that may be addicted to gaming in other facilities in the state of Illinois. But yeah, that's certainly something we look forward to assisting with.
When we looked at the fund and what the beneficiaries would be, as far as healthcare, we talked about bringing better healthcare to impoverished communities, breast cancer screening, mammogram screening into communities where perhaps they don't have the ability to go to a place locally and bring it to them. Same thing for educational opportunities, make them more available. I don't think there's any parameters for it right now. It's out there, and whatever would apply, we're certainly supportive of it.
So in other words, the community benefit funds, that sharing of the revenue could be used for some of these mental health things. Is that what you're saying?
Sure. Yeah, some of the money from the public benefit fund is going to the University of Chicago Medical Group and the South Suburban Advocate. So they will be distributed funds that they will be able to utilize at their discretion.
Have you made a determination yet how you're going to split up those funds between the schools and the medical facilities, the hospitals?
No.
Yeah, there's a formula that we have by percentage. I can't remember right off the top of our head, but it's maybe Arthur can remember. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I think it was something like 40% going to the medical groups and 60% to the colleges, with each college getting like 20%. The colleges, we had talked to them about setting up scholarship funds for disadvantaged students in all the colleges, and we included the 3 community colleges because the state statute said that the casino had to go in within 6 townships somewhere in the south suburb, and those 3 community colleges have students from those townships, and that's why we picked the 3 community colleges in the 2 hospital groups.
There's some rumors out there that there's a lawsuit that's going to delay the construction of that. Is that true or not?
Never heard of it.
Not heard of anything.
Okay.
So continuing along with the mental health, Mary Ann Bethos posted also that we are in need of a free clinic for screening for mental health in the south suburbs of Chicago. So she just wanted to reiterate that importance of the mental health. is very necessary. So she just wanted to reiterate that. There's another question from Frank DiGiovanni, and regarding the labor force and residents. He's with the Friends of Labor, and he is saying that he would like to assist. So they're available to help. I know that we look forward to having the opportunity to host something, how our businesses, how people can bid so they can know what opportunities that there are. And I thank you, for saying that you would get that information to us, because that is something we've had a lot of questions, not just construction, but from all different types of businesses. How do we do business with Wind Creek, and so we welcome that opportunity, and plenty of people are here to help. That's for sure.
Well, we're looking very forward to the casino getting built, and we're also looking forward to all the jobs and revenue it's going to provide to the south suburbs. There's a great need for revenue and jobs in the south suburbs. So this is welcome news that it's actually finally come to fruition after all these years.
I agree.
You guys have gone through a long journey. No question about it.
A lot of effort, but we owe most of the efforts by Pat Daly, the Daly Group, our developer, and Arthur's group, Wind Creek, for showing confidence in our communities and in sticking it out so long. I'm sure Arthur's group has never dealt with the state of Illinois before, and so now he knows what happens when you try to move something along in the state of Illinois. It takes a little bit of time.
How far back did you actually choose Wind Creek when you got together with them as a partner?
I think it was like 2013, 14, somewhere in there.
15 when we officially signed on.
2015.
We did come up in 2014 and it made official in 2015.
You stuck in there.
They did.
That's
Good project. We were very proud that they had faith in us as well. We knew it was a good location, and we were very excited to be a part of it.
Well, that's great. I'm sure you found working with the state of Illinois very interesting.
There are also a couple other things that are popping up in the chat box, and it's really more that are people that are definitely wanting to be involved. We have Bridget Walters, who's the job coordinator for Thornton Township, so she wants to be able to help also. So not only the procurement side of bidding for work that the contractors and others would like, but then there's also the people that want to be involved to make sure that our local folks can be able to apply for those jobs. And I know that there is screening processes available. You mentioned those 3 community colleges, and we have a great relationship with them. They all have job boards. They have not just for current students, but also for alumni. And then we also have job postings on the chamber website. So we'll be able to help as a Southland community coming together to be able to help with that, because certainly we want to keep those jobs locally. And then I had one other question just for clarification. You talked about the building of the casino is first, and am I right? It was 15 months you thought, and then after that, then the hotel?
We'll be building them both. They'll go up sort of parallel, but it's just going to take longer to finish the hotel. But
okay, it takes longer. Okay, great. And then I believe, Ron, you have a couple more questions that came in.
Yeah, from Ken Kreit. Would you like to be involved also? They'd like to be involved for posting and referrals. And Vivian McGrew just wanted to let you know the USMCA Southland is a diverse group of minority contracts in various trades. How do we get on the bidders list? So there's a lot of people out there that are looking to get involved and looking to become a part of the building of the casino. So you'll find, Arthur, you'll find that a lot of great, friendly people and hard workers in the Southland.
Right.
Yeah, just so you know, too, we've had discussions with Arthur's group as well, saying that we want the priority to be hiring people from our areas, our communities first. So it's going to be a priority, and I'm sure when they have their job fairs and things, that's something that they'll be looking at.
Yeah, there's another organization, the Black Owners and Executives contractors group, BECO, that definitely would like to be involved as well. So we'll make sure that we disseminate it to all of the parties that are here so that we can get everybody engaged. And, you know, when one community wins, we all win. And the Chicago Southland is the way I look at it. And this is such a great opportunity and creative that the two communities came together. That's great that it worked out well that way.
Yeah, no
To
question.
close the loop on something that came up earlier, I went back and looked. The informational session for potential partners is on February 18th at 3:30 to 5 o'clock. It's going to be a virtual information session. And then again, from W. O'Neill or Bo will be submitting that shortly because we just approved all the copy and creative this morning. But for those that want to go ahead and mark their calendars, that's when that information schedule is scheduled right now.
Okay, and you'll get something to me so we can disseminate it. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it'll be coming up from W. O'Neill or Boa
Okay.
later today. We literally signed off on the copy and creative about 7 o'clock this morning. So it's hot off the press.
I was just gonna say hot off the press. And I would say that hot off the press, it was what, December 7th, the day before the announcement was made. Wind Creek was at the Chicago Southland Chambers, our holiday sports luncheon. And we're saying tomorrow there's going to be news. And so that was definitely hot off the press. So we're happy to be a part of that.
Well, I think we, why don't we let the mayor's Arthur, did you want to say a few more things?
No, I'll
Wrap
let
things
the
up?
lawyers wrap it up. Yeah.
Okay. Mayor Hofeld, Mayor Brown, if you wanted to say a few last words.
Sure.
Go ahead, guys.
Well, Arthur talked about the 600 jobs that will be created for construction, and we're taking advantage of that as well locally. Yesterday, we had a meeting. We're forming an advisory committee to all the restaurants along Halsted Street to take advantage of the lunches that could be served to all those construction workers. And we're going to get that organized. There are about 20-some restaurants along Halsted Street. We're going to get them to organize, reach out to the contractor, have the food brought in, have the food distributed, whatever's necessary, so that we get the spillover benefits in our restaurants as well. And we're just delighted to work with Wind Creek, and we're looking forward to this proceeding well.
Yeah, and just from our perspective, the fact that we've worked with Arthur's group about 6 years now, we're as pleased as punch to be finding them. All of their facilities, if you've gone on their website and looked at their facilities that they operate all across the United States and in the Caribbean, they're 4 diamond facilities. They've just been a great community partners, and the fact that we'll now be able to share the revenue with 43 communities, I think is just tremendous. We look forward to the opening of the operation and good things to come.
It's going to be fantastic for the Southland. There's no question about it. Mayor Brown, Mayor Hofeld, and Arthur Mothershed from Wind Creek Casino, we want to thank you for your time. Terry, why don't you wrap it up?
Wrap it up, wrap it up. Okay, well, I'm super excited about this. I've lived in this area all my life and have been waiting, and we've been hearing about this, and it's really great to see this coming to fruition. So thank you all for that. And I would like to mention that tomorrow we have our Chicago Southland Healthcare Panel, and it will be on Zoom. And so if you haven't already registered but would like to, it's not too late. And you can go to our website and go to the events, to the calendar, and you could register there. And then also coming up on February the 23rd, we have our annual event, which is our recognition event where we install new board members, and the 2021 Chamber of Commerce Chairwoman Connie Sims will be handing over the gavel to the 2022 Chair, Tom Fagan. So, and that's going to be a fun entertainment. So you don't want to miss that. There's going to be surprise entertainment. So that will be a lot of fun. And then after that, we have our March dates that are all set in our calendar. So I would encourage you, for those of you that are members, log in with your credentials, and you can also utilize the website in lots of different ways. It's being underutilized. And those of you that are not members, I encourage you to become a member so you could reach reach out to me at any time. And if anyone's interested, save the information in your chat box. And then I will disseminate any information that I receive about the procurement or for getting employment. So I'll disseminate all that information to everybody that's here and then also to our membership. So thanks, everyone. Have a great day and travel safely for those of you that are.